my slides, but I couldn't find some of the things I wanted on the web. So what I did was I just drew them myself or had my daughter do it. So I think you'll like it. So let me go ahead and go back to the main page, and you're getting a sneak peek at my presentation. Okay, so really this presentation is about what you need to know to make an informed choice about whether or not the vaccine is right for you. And then this is a lot of information if you are in a profession where it's kind of your job to inform others so that they can make their good decisions about whether or not to get the vaccine. So that's the point of this topic. All right, just so we have all on the same page about some key terms, SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19, we hear them all the time. SARS-CoV-2 is actually the virus itself. It's a novel virus, a new virus. No, humanity has not seen this virus before. It stands for Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus 2, second version. And COVID-19 is actually the disease caused by the virus. It stands for Coronavirus Disease discovered in 2019. And because this is a new virus, a novel virus, nobody anywhere in the world has any pre-established immunity to it. As we know, it spreads very quickly and can really cause serious illness and even death, particularly in the elderly or people with pre-existing conditions. And those conditions are diabetes, obesity, heart problems, high blood pressure, chronic lung disease, kidney failure, history of cancer, you name it. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about how prevalent this disease is. Worldwide, and I got these numbers this morning from the World Health Organization. So it says 1/20/21. I'm sorry, I failed to change that to today's date. These numbers are new as of this morning. Worldwide, there have been 106 million infections that we know of. And of those, about 80 million have recovered, which is wonderful. 2,367,355 have died. And I think it's important that I read that number all the way out to the last digit, because these are people who have succumbed all the way to this virus. And right now, about 25 million are currently infected that we know of. Okay, the United States has had almost 30 million infections. Of those, almost 18 million have recovered and 483,200 have died. I mean, this is enormous. Our country is the worst, the most deaths and most cases of any country in the world. About 9.5 million people are currently infected. This is important and this number is getting better, thank goodness, but about 3,500 people per day are dying in the United States from coronavirus or coronavirus complications. Okay, let's talk about here in Maryland. Here in Maryland, we have 366,666 infections as of yesterday. That's the number from yesterday, and 7,267 deaths due to COVID-19. About 20 to 60 people die every day in Maryland with COVID or COVID-related complications. So our numbers are way better than a lot of states, but I mean, that's just still too many. And the numbers are rising. They are actually, the percentage of cases is actually going down, but of course, we always have new cases coming up. And there are 3 variants of the virus: the UK virus, the South African variant, and the Brazil variant, which our scientists have determined are more contagious and possibly cause higher mortality. So we're studying those, and we're studying to see if our vaccines are effective at them. It's looking good, everybody, but those variants are still kind of scary. So let's talk about how serious COVID-19 is. I mean, I don't feel like I have to convince anyone in this group how serious it is. It is very serious. It's proving to be more than 10 times more deadly than the flu. Something interesting to note is that in the United States, a terrible flu season, at the height of a terrible year for flu, about 600 people die from flu every year. I mean, every day. So think about that. COVID, for months now, we've had thousands of people dying a day. So it is so much worse than the flu. And I get frustrated when people just think this is like the flu. It's not like the flu. Another problem with COVID is what we call long COVID or COVID long haulers. And that's a condition in which folks are not returning to baseline after recovering from COVID-19 or after experiencing the infection. So even 30 days after their infections, they're still reporting continuing fatigue, brain fog, and they're showing evidence of residual organ damage. That's very scary to me, that long COVID. It's also being studied. You may have also heard of multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children, MIS-C, we shortcut. And there's also MIS-A for adults, but this is associated with COVID-19 infection. And after a child has possibly not even had a symptomatic infection with COVID-19, they sometimes develop this very serious condition with their organs are inflamed. Most of them do recover. Some of them die. It's very scary. COVID-19 is the third leading cause of death in the United States today. It is only behind heart disease and cancer. So that's depressing, but true. And I think it's important we all know it, so we take it very seriously. All right, so I love this slide, and I teach this to my caregivers before they go out in the field. So this I stole from another website, and it's the Swiss cheese respiratory virus defense visual aid. It recognizes that no single intervention in trying to protect yourself from spreading this virus is perfect, but each intervention, each layer has failings, and multiple layers reduce their impact. So imagine this is the virus over here on the left, these little green particles. And these are all your layers of intervention that we all do every single day. We maintain physical distance. We improve our ventilation. We wear masks, well-fitting masks, double masks sometimes. That's actually what the CDC is recommending these days. Hand hygiene all the time, fast, sensitive testing, contact tracing, surface cleaning. So none of these by themselves is a good enough intervention, but when you stack them all up, their flaws kind of block each other's holes, so we have a nice strong layer of defense. So that's the Swiss cheese theory. Okay, you stack up those layers. Now, I love to compare this. This is the one my daughter drew. Compare the Swiss cheese to a brick wall. So a brick wall protects you far more than some layers of Swiss cheese. I mean, that's a good imagination there. And remember that getting vaccinated is like putting a brick wall between you and the disease. This is way better than Swiss cheese. And so I love this because my daughter drew the brick wall and then says, come on, not the vaccine. She drew angry viruses. And then here's this cool guy all protected because he got the vaccine and there's a brick wall between him. So I just love that. So the brick wall, the vaccine is the blocker. All right. 2 vaccines have been approved with emergency use authorization by the FDA. The Pfizer vaccine, this is back in the middle of December. Pfizer was first, a week later, Moderna was second. And these are both mRNA vaccines. The Pfizer vaccine is given in 2 doses, given at least 3 weeks apart. 95% effective at preventing disease. Moderna vaccine is also an mRNA vaccine. Again, 2 doses are given. This one's given at least 4 weeks apart, greater than 94% effective. And when these numbers came out, scientists were floored. It's miraculously effective at preventing disease. Both of these vaccines have gone through all 3 phases of the trials, 1, 2, and 3, testing for safety, testing for efficacy, testing with a placebo, comparing. They're all the trials have gone through for these 2 vaccines. All right, so let's talk about the virus. This is how the virus spreads. The virus spreads when an infected person sheds virus. They actually release virus by talking, breathing, singing, shouting, sneezing, coughing, etc. It's a respiratory virus. Now, these particles can be in droplets, which don't travel far, or they can be aerosolized particles, which are a little scarier because they float in the air, they last longer in the air, and they can travel farther. And they have virus in them and can cause infection. The spike protein on the outside of the virus, and here are some pictures of coronavirus. You can see these spikes coming in. Hence, that's why it's actually called corona for crown, a virus. It's a circular virus. The spike protein on the outside of the virus attaches to the cells of the nose and throat of the person getting infected. And through this attachment site, the virus begins injecting its own genetic information into the cell and then using the cell's hardware to replicate itself. So it kind of takes over the cells and starts using the cell's own machinery to replicate itself. Now, the host's immune system must now mount a response to clear the body of the virus, because obviously we don't want that happening to our cells. That's what's making us sick. Okay, so I drew this picture because I couldn't find what I wanted on the internet. So imagine this is like a side of a virus and it has all these spike proteins sticking out of it. Well, our body creates these neutralizing antibodies to block that virus. So do you see how these neutralizing antibodies that I've drawn, they are kind of mirror images. They are the opposite of the spike virus. So the puzzle piece fits. This neutralizing antibody connects to the spike protein and neutralizes it. Okay, so our body has to figure out how to make these neutralizing antibodies. That's the goal, because once we have these antibodies, we can block all the spikes we want. All right, so and this I found on the internet. Our body designs antibodies to neutralize the proteins of the virus with our B cells. That's part of our immune system. So as you can see, imagine this blue puzzle piece is the virus, and then the yellow puzzle piece is the antibody our body designed to exactly, clamp onto that and neutralize that spike protein. All right. Our bodies also have, I mean, the immune system is amazing. Our body also has memory cells. They're called T cells. And these cells are constantly in our bloodstream, scanning and surveying for the foreign proteins it has seen before. If these cells find them, then they trigger those B cells to make more antibodies, which they know how to make. Aha, and you don't get sick because your body mounts an immune response before you ever even have enough virus going on to get you sick. Okay. So I want to talk specifically about how an mRNA vaccine works, because people have questions about this. This is a new kind of vaccine. mRNA technology has been around for years and years and years. This is the first time we've put it in a vaccine for emergency use authorization. So let's talk about how an mRNA vaccine works. It works by messenger RNA. That's where mRNA comes from. Imagine DNA is your blueprint. The DNA in all your cells is the blueprint from your whole house. I mean, where does imagine a blueprint for your house. Where does the chimney go? Where's the doorway go? How many bathrooms? What size is it? Where does the stove go? Where's the alcove, the windows? I mean, it's the blueprint for your whole body. And your cells are the little contractors who follow the blueprint, okay? Imagine mRNA is a little packet of instructions for these contractors. The vaccine has a little set of mRNA instructions that are specific for making that spike protein of the coronavirus. Scientists broke down the whole genetic sequence of the coronavirus. They figured out the little sequence that makes the spike protein. They made mRNA so that our cells can make the spike protein. These proteins by themselves are harmless, by the way. If it's just a spike protein, it's not getting you sick. It's not taking over your cells. It's just present. Now, your body has B cells that make antibodies to these spike proteins when it comes across them. And your immune system has memory. It learns how to make these antibodies and remembers how to make them again if needed. So your body has T cells that do surveillance and have the memory. And when your body comes across these spike proteins again, by being around someone with the virus, it quickly acts. And your body can neutralize the virus before you get sick. So I know that's a lot of words. So just imagine the little mRNA giving some instructions to your cells to start making spike proteins. You're in your muscle in your arm, okay? And your body starts making spike proteins, spike proteins, spike proteins, spike proteins. It's paying attention. It's doing the mRNA's instruction. And then your immune system comes around and goes, hey, these spike proteins are not part of the original blueprint. Let's swallow these up. Let's make antibodies to these spike proteins. The mRNA dissolves. It's actually very fragile. That's how come they have to keep it so frozen. It's gone in just a day or two. And your body has learned how to make antibodies to those spike proteins. That's the key. Now, if out in the world, you talk to someone at the grocery store and their mask drops down, or you touch something, you touch a door handle of a public building and then you touch your face. Now your body remembers those spike proteins. So if you were going to be infected, you don't get infected because as soon as your body surveils and sees the spike proteins, the antibodies come into action because they already know how to build them. All right. A lot of frequently asked questions I get all the time. I'll go over these and then I want to make sure that you can ask me anything else. And if I don't know it, I will find it out for you. That I can promise, because I don't know everything, but I can look it up and I can ask people and I have a good network. So first of all, the biggest question I get is this new mRNA vaccine safe? And the answer is yes. Both Pfizer and Moderna put this vaccine through all 3 phases of testing on tens of thousands of participants. First, they tested it for safety, and then they tested it for efficacy, making sure it actually worked against a placebo group of people who didn't get it. So were the people who got the vaccine not getting sick against the people who didn't, who might be getting sick? And indeed, it showed itself to be 95% effective. Second question I get is, how do they create this vaccine so fast? I mean, doesn't it take years to develop a vaccine? That's an excellent question. But like I said before, first off, mRNA technology has been around for years. The original hope was that mRNA technology could be used to specifically fight cancer, to instruct cells to kill cancer cells. They're certainly still working on that. That is a phenomenal around the corner technology against cancer. But they were able to use this now against the coronavirus. Secondly, the manpower hours spent worldwide dwarfs any other vaccine ever produced. It went so fast because so many scientists were working on it. So yes, it went fast, but that's because the whole world's attention was paying attention to it. So if you count the actual man hours on this vaccine, it dwarfs the other vaccines. And that's reassuring as well. So yes, it went fast, but because so much work was put into it. What about side effects of getting the vaccine? So most people experience no side effects. Some people get a sore arm for a day. In fact, I would actually say a lot of people I talk to get a sore arm for a day. It feels like something happened there, which makes sense. I mean, you're creating an immune response. Your body is rushing into action. Of course, it's going to be a little congested and sore. Some people get a meh feeling for a day. I've heard that a lot. Some people get a low-grade fever or mild body aches for a day, chills maybe. After getting the vaccine, you will be asked to wait in a holding area for 15 minutes so that you can be monitored for an allergic reaction. Now, these are extremely rare. Less than 1 in 100,000 people have a reaction that requires more than a little bit of Benadryl. And even those people do fine. We just give them EpiPens and the doctor takes a look at them. So even the people that have serious allergic reactions, none of them have died. So it's extremely rare, and it's still less scariest than catching coronavirus with that kind of risk of death. And then the other one thing I want to say is you are more likely to feel kind of meh after your second dose than your first. And to speak from my own experience, I had a sore arm for a day after my first dose. I've received my second dose. I had a sore arm for 2 days after my second dose, and I felt tired. But that was it. That was all I had. Okay, when will I actually be immune after getting the vaccine? So right now we're working with the 2-dose vaccines. So this is an easy mnemonic, 2 doses plus 2 weeks. Okay, so 2 weeks after your second dose, you are considered immune. And I drew this little graph because again, I couldn't find what I wanted on the internet. So imagine this is the level of infection, the y-axis. The x-axis is the date of the first dose, the 2-week mark, the date of the second dose, and then 2 weeks after that. So this 6-week mark is the 2 doses plus 2 weeks. So look at all these people with no vaccine, that level of infection is staying the same. You know, they have no there's nothing protecting them. But look over here, the red line, these are the people, this is the person who got their first dose. Of course, they're right at the same level as someone with no vaccine. 2 weeks after the first dose, they have 50% or more actually protection already. After this, then they get the second dose at 4 weeks, and look at that, 2 weeks after that second dose, it goes all the way down to more than 95% protection. That's incredible. This is an incredible vaccine. All right. Someone asked me once, what if I can't get to my second dose on time? I actually had someone who couldn't get her second dose on time because she had an emergency. She just couldn't get it on time. And I told her to relax. That's okay. You can get your second dose late. They will not allow you to get your second dose early. That's the only thing. But you can get your second dose late. And then you have to remember that you'll be immune 2 weeks after your second dose, whenever it is. So if you get your second dose a week late, then add 2 weeks to that date. And that's your immunity day. But you certainly do not need to start over with the first dose. This is a great question, and I wish I had a better answer for you, but I want you to have the truthful answer and a hopeful answer. Do I still have to wear a mask after I've achieved immunity? So 2 doses plus 2 weeks, do you still have to wear a mask? Here's the thing. You are probably not going to get sick from COVID-19 when you are fully vaccinated, 2 doses plus 2 weeks, 95% chance. But we are still not sure if you could transmit the virus to others. So imagine you got a little virus in your nose, even though you were vaccinated. You're not going to get sick because your body's protecting you. There's a chance you could still be spreading it a little bit to others. So for the time being, you will need to continue to wear a mask in public with your clients and with the public, anywhere you cannot maintain social distance. That's safest. You're not going to get sick, but you need to consider that we need to protect other people. And this is my personal note. It is likely that this vaccine will prevent you from spreading the virus as well as prevent you from getting sick. So we know it's going to prevent you from getting sick. It's likely it'll prevent you from spreading it, but we don't have enough data to be sure yet. So there will be data soon. We will be able to take our masks off one day, but just not yet. All right. Will other vaccines be coming? Okay. Yes, Johnson & Johnson is coming out with a vaccine soon. They put out their numbers already. It has an FDA review date already, I think February 23rd or something. The FDA is going to review it. It's highly likely. See, this was written in January. The date on phase 3 clinical trials was announced this morning. It was actually announced at January 29th. It is predicted that this Johnson & Johnson vaccine will indeed get an emergency use authorization by the end of February, actually probably March now. Now, this is interesting. This is not an mRNA vaccine. This uses the older form of technology, an adenovirus, which is a crippled common cold type virus that scientists know very, very well. They know the ins and out of this virus. So what they do is they modify that virus to have the same spike protein. So when they inject you with this crippled common cold type virus with this big spike protein on it, your immune system responds to the spike protein and then remembers how to respond to the spike protein in the future should it see it again with the coronavirus. What's nice about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is it's only one dose. What's really nice is it only requires regular refrigeration. So pharmacists and drugstores and all sorts of places, your doctor's office, they don't need special sub-freezing temperatures just to hold it. They just stick it in the refrigerator and it's fine. It is predicted that you'll be 85% protected after 4 weeks after the single dose, with increasing immunity even after that, it looks like. So remember I told you before, the mRNA vaccine, 2 doses plus 2 weeks. Johnson & Johnson, it looks like it's going to be 1 dose plus 4 weeks for your immunity. And what's really good is people panic because they're like, oh, the Johnson & Johnson one doesn't have as much as 95% as the mRNA. Forget that. It is so important that everyone get vaccinated because the Johnson & Johnson one still has 100% protection against death after 4 weeks, 100% prevention against severe disease after 7 weeks against all the variants. This one has been tested in South Africa, Brazil against the variants. So this is incredibly promising and powerful because truthfully, even if you got the vaccine and you got sick, as long as you didn't go to the hospital and die, that vaccine did its job. So it's so important that everyone get the vaccine. We need to take the pressure off the hospitals and just keep, it's okay if you get sick for a couple of days, don't spread it around. But the hospitalization and death is what panics me. And these vaccines are very effective, 100%. Okay, so here's what someone asked me, which vaccine should I get? And my answer is immediate. You should get whichever vaccine is available to you first, because the faster we are all vaccinated, the faster we can get back to normal. Can I mix and match vaccines? So if I got the Moderna one, can I get the Pfizer one later? And the answer was no, they do not want you to do that. You should get the same vaccine you got for the first dose. The CDC may say a few exceptions for this for special circumstances, but in general, no, you can't mix and match vaccines. Boy, my tongue is twisted today. I apologize. Okay, here's a question. If I have had COVID-19 and recovered, now do I go out and get the vaccine? And the answer is yes. Doctors are recommending that folks who are COVID graduates, means they have recovered from COVID, still get the vaccine. This will provide an added boost of long-lasting immunity to protect you. Please talk to your doctor about when you should be vaccinated after a COVID-19 infection. Many are saying 90 days after infection is a good target date for vaccination. Remember, after having COVID, you have some natural immunity to COVID. Your body has built that up. The studies show that vaccination immunity is way better, stronger, and long-lasting than natural immunity, but you definitely do have some natural immunity after getting COVID and recovering. All right, who shouldn't get vaccinated? You should not get vaccinated if you have ever had a very serious allergic reaction, like really serious, like you had to go to the emergency room. Then you definitely want to talk to your doctor. You should not get vaccinated if you are ill at the time of your appointment. So please make a new appointment and come back when you are well. They don't want to give you a shot if you've got bronchitis or if you've got COVID or if you've got, something going on. Wait until you're better. And then also talk to your doctor if you have a serious autoimmune disease, are pregnant or nursing. I promise your doctor is likely going to tell you to go ahead and get the vaccine anyway, but this is where you don't just run in there automatically and get it. You talk to your doctor first. Okay, and this is my favorite slide. What are you going to do when you're immune? When we do finally get back to normal? Can you visit your grandchildren, or your grandparents, visit your family when they're vaccinated? Can you travel a little bit? Can you finally get a haircut? Can you have dinner with friends and socialize? Oh, the movies might open up. Try on clothes at the store. Kids back in school, that's so important to me. I have 2 kids who are home with me all the time, and the light will be shining when they can go outside and be with their friends. And then just in general, even though we still have to wear masks and there's still limited restrictions, even after we're vaccinated, don't you feel like you're going to relax, that your stress level will go way down? I had my second dose last Wednesday. So this coming Wednesday, I will be my immunity day. That's 2 weeks plus 2 doses. I just think my stress level is going to go way down. So I am so excited that this vaccine's in place. More vaccines are coming, that people want the vaccine, and that I'm able to share things like this with you all so that I can, answer some questions for folks. That's really what I like to do. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing and put my face back on the screen. And anyone who has any questions for me, I'd love to try to answer them. And if I can't answer them, like I said before, I'll find out the answer and get back to you. So thanks for listening to my presentation.
Stephanie, thank you. Fantastic. Folks, if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, I've got one that came into the chat. I think you spoke a little bit about the J&J one, but how about these other two with regard to the variants?
They are, the good news with the other two is that you're talking about the Novavax and the AstraZeneca ones.
No, I'm the two that we have, are they effective against the variant?
Okay. That's a very good question. They seem to be extremely effective at the British variant, which is the most common one. It's actually becoming very prevalent in Southern California, but the current mRNA vaccines that we have in place are very effective against the British variant, the B117. Less so against the South African variant, but it's still, I have not seen the formal studies with the vaccine against these variants. It's looking good. It's not perfect, but it's still preventing deaths and hospitalizations. So in that way, it's perfect.
Excellent. Stephanie, somebody in the chat asked about the update on COVID deaths.
Okay. In the presentation, I had given you the deaths in the state of Maryland, which is unfortunately over 7,000. And about 20 to 40 folks are still passing away every day in Maryland from COVID. We do expect those numbers to go down. I feel like, I feel like we're turning this whole thing around. Maryland is an outstanding state. I see 100% mask compliance everywhere. I mean, don't you guys? I saw something on TV about people going to a grocery store and nobody had masks on because the owner of the grocery store didn't make that a policy. That would never happen in Maryland. I feel so much more safe here. But yeah, unfortunately, the deaths are still very prevalent. Once we get ahead of the infections, then we'll get ahead of the hospitalizations, and then the hospitalizations, then we can get ahead of the deaths.
Thanks, Stephanie. And actually, he clarified that question. Vaccine-related deaths, have there been any deaths reported?
No. Isn't that fantastic? I love to just answer that question. No, there have not been. So someone gave me a statistic. It was something like over 100 million people there have been over 100 million worldwide cases of COVID. And of those, like 0.4% pass away. I mean, there's a pretty significant correlation. Now we've reached a point where over 100 million vaccines have been given out. So more vaccines have been given out than infections have happened worldwide, and no one has died from the vaccine. So, I mean, it's incredible.
That's awesome. Here comes another one. Stephanie, do they know how long the vaccines are effective? Will we have to get it every year?
Oh, that's a good question. They don't know that. They don't think you're going to have to get it every single year. But again, this is speculation. They do believe they're going to come up with little booster shots against the variants. That one we might have to get every year, but they don't know yet. They do know that the immunity that you get from the vaccine is far more robust and long lasting than the immunity you get from just having had the infection. So it's definitely get the vaccine, don't get the infection for immunity.
Stephanie, how about people with autoimmune disorders or cancer? Is it still effective, and do they get the same amount of immunity?
That's a great question. I actually heard a doctor speak on this. The patient he was talking to had a kidney transplant, and she was on immunosuppressive drugs so that she wouldn't reject the kidney. And she wanted to know, should she get the vaccine? And the doctors told her, he goes, yes, go get the vaccine now. The thing is, your immune system might not create the same response against the vaccine. So it might not offer, you may not get that same kind of protection, but it wouldn't hurt her to get the vaccine. So he wanted her to get the vaccine, even if she might not have that immunity. And then he had some alternatives about antibody infusion should she become infected. So if you have immune problems, it won't hurt you to get the vaccine, but it is true you may not have the robust immune response that the next person would have. So you still need to be very, very careful, and don't assume immunity just because you were vaccinated. And then, of course, talk to the doctor. So it wouldn't hurt them to get the vaccine, but it probably won't be the same robust one that someone without the same immune system problem would have.
And would that be the same for folks undergoing immunotherapy for cancer treatment?
I would say yes. They would have to talk to the doctor. I don't think the vaccine would hurt them any. It won't do the level of help that it would do in someone healthy, which is a shame. But we have other alternatives for those folks now.
Here's a good question, Stephanie. Since you still could be a carrier even if you've gotten the vaccine, would it still be wise to quarantine for 2 weeks if you travel by plane? Still continue to do all those same protective measures?
I'm going to be very conservative. I'm going to say yes. I think that's a good idea for now until we know more. I promise you, everybody, in March, we're going to know so much more than we know now as these, waves of people are getting vaccinated. We'll have more information. But in the meantime, just to protect other people, I would definitely follow those same instructions.
Excellent. Anybody else have any other questions for Stephanie?
I do. This is Doug. Well, not necessarily a question, but an update I read. The CDC has just come out with a guideline in the last day or so about folks who are past that 2 weeks second COVID shot. If you are exposed to somebody who is COVID positive, you are not required to quarantine if you're between that 2 weeks and 3 months.
All right.
I just read that like either this morning or last night or something.
That's great.
Yeah, and actually I do have a question. Somebody considered a COVID graduate if they're simply positive testing, or do they have to be ill or have symptoms?
That's a good question. If someone has tested positive, even if they have not developed any symptoms, we consider them having some immune response to COVID, and they'd be a COVID grad. Yeah. So they should still get the vaccine when it becomes available to them. But yeah, they can think that they've had some immunity.
Excellent. Anybody else have a question? I think I speak for everybody. I've seen a lot of great comments in the chat. Stephanie, this is, and Bonnie said the same thing. This is the second time I've heard you speak. I took new things away from it, and your enthusiasm and confidence is really infectious. So folks, I hope that this has helped you learn something new, and hopefully some takeaways that you can share with your staff. We did record this, so we will have this available probably to post on the ESPC website. So again, Stephanie, thank you for your time and your expertise.
Oh, my pleasure.
Very much appreciate it. Perfect. So I've got just a few bits of business for everybody. Let's see, ESPC, so our Compass for Caregiver webinar, we have one tonight. It is about senior relationships. I think I mentioned this in the beginning, but Pam McDonald, who's a licensed clinical therapist here in Frederick, is doing the presentation really aimed at caregivers, talking about, we know that their relationships that they have, whether it's with the person they take care of or their healthy spouse, other people that live in their household, their siblings, right? Those relationships become strained and stressed and changed over the course of their caregiving journey. So Pam is really going to dig in and address that, give them tools and tips to recognize the stressors, to have really difficult and challenging conversations. So as I said, I worked with Pam yesterday, and I think it's going to be a great presentation. So registration is open right up until the minute of the webinar, which is 6 o'clock. People can register through the ESPC website. We have the link up there. Troy, if you're on and you want to put it in the chat, that would be great too. But really, if you're interested, or if you have clients or staff who might be interested, I think it's going to be a really worthwhile presentation. To the house or not. So really looking forward to that. Our April presentation is really about caregiver self-care. And we were hoping to put together a webinar that would give them a variety, maybe a little bit of a taste of a variety of things: yoga, acupressure, acupuncture, some different strategies that hopefully they can simply do at home without having to join a practice, go to a gym, go to a spa, all that kind of stuff. But we are looking for speakers. So if you or somebody you know is involved with some alternative therapies for self-care, for relaxation, for stress reduction, give me a call or shoot me an email, or Bonnie Elliott, somebody else on the ESPC Compass committee. We'd love to hear from you. We'd really like to have 2, 3, 4 other presenters. Bonnie's one of our presenters, but we'd really like to ramp that up. So please be in touch so you can help us flush that out. Anybody else on the Compass Committee with Compass information I'm not thinking about? Our Compass Committee meets on the 3rd Tuesday of the month. Our next meeting will be next Tuesday. We do it by Zoom. We would love to have you involved if you are interested. At this point, we don't have an end date. We're just going to keep going with these webinars as we come up with topics that we think caregivers will find useful. Still, our attendance rate is low. We're at about maybe 16 or so for tonight. Would love to continue to get those numbers up to get the word out. The people coming have expressed a lot of interest and enthusiasm for them. We just need your help. So when you get those flyers, please share them with your constituents and help us spread the word. That's about it. Troy, do you want to talk at all about membership?
Yeah, I'm just actually really impressed by everybody.
Sure Troy is multitasking or trying to unmute. Right.
Can everybody hear me?
There we go.
All right. So I'm very impressed by everybody showing up today. If you enjoy these type of sessions that we have here in the Compass for Caregivers, please support the ESPC and become a member. I sent an email out on behalf of the info at ESPC earlier this week here itself. So again, if you need that Woohoo link, you can go out to our website, or you can send me an email and I'll be sure to send that out to you. So please join.
Many of you know, and I think Troy illustrated this well, our source of income has always been the expo. We did not have the expo last year. We will not have the expo this year. We've certainly cut back on our expenses. We're not doing that charitable giving right now, but we still do have regular monthly expenses. It costs money to have a Zoom account. It costs money to have a Woohoo account. We have our QuickBooks support person. So there are some inherent costs to doing business, and your membership fees will help us keep going with that, and hopefully when things open up, give us funding to do some fun stuff, and then be prepared to launch for Expo when we can do that again. So members, certainly, again, I'll shout out that there's board positions coming open in June. You need to be a member to be on the board. You need to be a member to vote on business. We don't have a whole lot of business very often, but and I'm sorry, I'm slowing down. I'm from home today, so my internet might not be great. But also to have your event information pushed out through ESPC, you need to be a member. So continue to do that.
Okay. And Christina,
I do not have any other business. Does anybody else have anything else?
I do. Can I jump back in? Doug, on my Twitter, it says exactly what you were saying. It says, breaking news from NBC News. People who have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 do not need to quarantine if they are exposed to the coronavirus, the CDC says. Right, just came up. So
I try not to lie.
Exactly. So I'm going to put that in my presentation next time.
I think that has huge implications from those of you with staff, right? That changes staffing patterns tremendously when you can get those people back to work quickly.
Hey, Steph,
they may not like it.
Make sure that you mentioned that it was breaking news from Doug Brown.
Thanks, Eileen. I'll take any plug I can get.
Hi, everybody. This is Debbie. I want to thank Stephanie so much. This was an amazing presentation. I just really want to give you huge kudos. I think you should take it nationally. Honestly, it was that good. And I really sincerely mean that. I really learned a lot. You broke it down into very understandable and great slides, by the way. So I'll compliment your child who did some of the slides. So listen, I just want to say, Right at Home in Country Meadows are doing a free CEU for social workers. It's going to be on February 26th from 1 to 2:15. And the topic is recognizing and responding to burnout, compassion fatigue, and countertransference during a healthcare crisis. It's one CEU, and it's all virtual. So if you have some social workers that need some CEUs, this is a great way to do it. And we have 4 $50 Visa gift cards that we're giving away to those that stay through the entire presentation. So you have to do sign in. It's through Generations, through Stephanie Goldstein, I believe. And she's very good. So anyway, anything else I missed, Eileen, about that?
I think you got it. We have on the email is a link to register. So it's a real easy registration process. And I think it's put on by Generations Health educators. They're really good. Jen Fitzpatrick is the speaker. Not quite as good as Stephanie Burns, but she's up there. So I think you'll enjoy her. I'm biased. I'm kidding. I'm biased. She's good. And I think she'll do a great presentation. And I can't help but love the term compassion fatigue.
And Troy, did we send this to you, Troy, for you to post?
I will have to go back and look. I will definitely do that, Debbie. But I was also, as you were talking about that, I think it'd be good to put on a Facebook calendar too.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
Great topic. And as a social worker who's panicking about my renewal in October not having enough CEUs, on behalf of my social work colleagues, thank you for putting those out. Great opportunities. Anybody else have any other event information or announcements? No, nothing? All right, so I know we often do introductions. Let's at least let our newcomers, it's about 10 of, let's let our newcomers give us a little bit of information about what they are doing, and we'll see kind of where we're at. Ooh, let's see. Sorry, scrolling through. Terry, are you still on? You want to talk a little bit more about your business real quick?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Terry Lemire, and I'm an occupational therapist. I've been an OT here in Frederick County for the last 24 years. Started out in working in nursing homes, went to FMH, worked acute care and in their TCU, and then worked in home health. And that's where I met Katrina Wolf, and loved working with her. And the last about 20 years, I've been doing environmental assessments for the Maryland Medicaid waiver program. So that's all I've been doing. I've been working extremely part-time doing that. But I have recently taken the plunge and started my own business called Healthy Home Living Solutions. And the goal for that business is to provide aging in place services, home assessments, home modifications, with the goal of keeping people at home as long as they can be home, as long as they can be home safely, and to just provide resources for my aging clients. So I'm really excited about it. Just started my business probably about a month ago, so I haven't even gotten a client yet. So, but I'm, just putting my feelers out there. I'm getting Medicare credentialed. I'm CAP certified. So I'm just excited to get back into the aging arena. So.
Terry, it is great to have you. So folks, make sure you catch Terry's contact information and check out her website. And again, hopefully we all get to meet in person eventually, but a great service for our community. So glad to have you.
Thank you so much.
Brandon, I apologize. Are you new?
Fairly new, yes. I'm actually, I'm sitting in for Mom today. So Janice Julius.
Perfect.
Yes.
Visiting angels. Yes, great, Brandon.
Indeed.
Good to have you here today.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else who hasn't been here before or who is fairly new, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi. Oh, this is Wellington. Oh, good. I'm very, very new down here. Can you hear me?
Yes, Wellington, welcome.
Thank you. Chris King invited me. We had a conversation 2 days ago, and she said there was a group she wanted me to belong to. Good. She said, I needed to join the meeting and get to hear what people are saying. My company name is Vastant Health Services. We're home care providers in the Baltimore area. And we provide skilled nursing services, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and personal care.
Excellent.
And
so are moving into the Frederick area?
yes, we're moving into the Frederick area to help provide services as well. So she said this would be a good forum to get to network and talk to people who do the same things we do. So
excellent. Well, glad to have you. Thank you for joining us, and come back again for sure. Anybody else who we don't usually see?
Hey, Christina, it's
Yes,
Beth.
Beth, please.
Hey, so I have been away from the Frederick area and ESPC for probably 6 years. I've been out in Washington County doing a variety of things, but so happy to be back in the Frederick County area and seeing so many familiar faces. Just to get everybody updated who may not know, I did leave Brookdale Assisted Living in Hagerstown, so assisted living and memory care community. It was a great experience, and I do believe that it prepared me well for what I am now about to do, and that is I am a senior advisor with Oasis Senior Advisors. Everybody knows Christina Kidd. So I'm really looking for this. Is my second day on the job.
Woohoo!
Anyway, I'm really looking forward to seeing all of the folks that I definitely have a relationship with, making new relationships, and getting a better understanding of all the professionals and what you're doing out in the community in the Frederick area and greater Frederick area. So anyway, nice to see everybody.
Beth, it is glad to have you back in the fold. Good to see you.
Speaking of, Christina, speaking of new relationships, I just want to share and tell everyone it's National Make a Friend Day today.
Oh, Elmer, thank you for sharing that.
You're very welcome.
Who doesn't need something positive and hopeful to celebrate? So yes, reach out to somebody to make a friend. I love it. Excellent. Josh, do you want to give us a little bit more information about Bright Star?
Yes, ma'am. So we serve Carroll, Frederick, and Washington County. We are non-medical as well as skilled nursing agency. We opened in December of last year, so we are getting our feet wet in the community, and I'm really looking forward to meeting new and experienced people and just learning. As they say, you learn something new every day, and I'm learning a lot more than one thing every day here, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm really excited about meeting everybody and getting a chance to talk to everybody. So I appreciate the meeting, and that was a great presentation, by the way, may I add. So
fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to have you join us. So we are pushing. I know sometimes we have a chance to go through and do introductions for everybody. It's 5 of. You guys tell me what you want to do. We can go through with quick introductions. You can duck off. I know I will say next month, Eileen, it is, please remind me from Rotary who our speaker is next month.
Next month is Justin Saltzman. He's the president this year of the Frederick Noon Rotary, and they do great work. So I'm excited to hear about what they're up to.
And I think, hopefully if we have time, I don't know about the length of his presentation, but maybe we can start doing some more breakout rooms to do a little bit more intimate networking and get to know people and talk with them. I think it was great that we gave Stephanie the time that we did, because that was a fantastic presentation, but we'll try to make more time for more personal networking going forward.
For sure.
May I also add, and just want to recognize Eileen, thank you so much for working hard on getting us all the speakers for our events.
Yeah, that was not in Eileen's job description when she wasn't even
That's
board
all
member.
right.
But she has done a great job. Certainly, if you know somebody in the community that might be a good speaker, we try not to promote anyone's particular business. We try for our speakers to be a little more broad in content than one person's particular business. But if you know something that would be of value to the group, please touch base with Eileen and give her some connections. That would be great.
Yes, and I do just have to say, for the new people out there and also the other home care companies, I have been involved in ESPC for over a decade, and I promise I've never had anyone from Right at Home speak before. So this is not a rigged thing, okay?
And that content was certainly specific for all of us.
He was a great speaker. And
thank you again, Team Experience. All right, so you guys get a quick vote. If you want to jump off, jump off. If you want to stay on and do an introduction, we can do that. All right, I will start from the top. Let's see, Eileen, you want to give a quick shout out?
Oh gosh. Okay. Yes, I'm going to defer my time. Hi, everybody. Eileen McLaughlin with Right at Home in Frederick. Great to see you.
Perfect. And let's keep them fast. That's great. Ashley.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ashley. I work for Habitat for Humanity of Frederick County. It was really nice to see everybody.
Jody. Jody Ramsey, you still with us? All right, Elmer.
I need to unmute myself, right?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I am Elmer De Souza. I am currently the PR for the ESPC until June as well. We are like both at the same time. It's so good seeing everyone. Stay safe.
Thanks, Elmer. Lee.
Hi, I'm Lee Fengmeyer, realtor with Remax Plus here in Frederick. Just here to serve your needs and your senior clients' needs as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. How about Leslie?
Good morning. I am Leslie Sire, and I work with Legal Shield, helping caretakers and families realize that they can have access to the legal system daily.
McGee.
Good morning, I'm McGee White, a program manager with the Alzheimer's Association, the Greater Maryland chapter, in our Western Maryland office in Frederick.
Chris King.
Good morning, everybody. Chris King with Beata Home Health, Medicare Skilled Services, Nursing, PT, OT, Speech, Home Health Aid, Social Work, Wound Care. So if needing anything, let me know. It's good to see you all.
Thanks, Chris. Beth?
Good morning. This is Beth with Fox Rehab. We are a unique outpatient rehab of providing PT, OT, and speech therapy to our older adult population. And we're unique that we go in the home to provide services. No brick and mortar building that they have to go to.
Thanks, Beth. How about Angela?
Good morning. I'm Angela Barton with Shepherd Staff In-Home Care. And I'm also the treasurer of ESPC. So on behalf of the board, I just want to welcome our new members. We had a real flurry of members joining just yesterday, so I was really excited to see that. Thanks to Troy for sending out that message. And I just want to encourage everyone. There are a few people that I saw at the meeting today that haven't joined yet. So if you haven't, please join us. And if you need an invoice, you can shoot me an email through info@espcfrederick.com, and I will get that, and I can send an invoice to you or your organization. So thanks and welcome, everybody.
Thanks, Angela. And just a quick, if you didn't see Troy's email or can't locate it, if you go on the ESPC website, espcfrederick.com, it's not super intuitive, but if you go to the tab that says member directory, you will find the link to join and become a member. Let's see, Amanda.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amanda Carver, and I am the community liaison. I'm with Right Home for Frederick Memorial and for Washington County. Good to see everybody.
Thanks, Amanda. I don't know if anyone else heard that like I did in slow motion, but really good to see you from way out west where they're probably getting more snow. Brandon, I don't know that you really got to give the full introduction with your business.
Sure, happy to. So my name is Brandon, for anybody who I have not yet met. I deal with all the business development here at Visiting Angels in Frederick. And hopefully I'm going to be making this a part of my regular schedule. And more importantly, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in person eventually. So.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh, I can't wait. Is there anybody that I missed? I am Christina. As I said, my day job is the director of Daybreak Adult Day Services. Daybreak is still closed with no guidance or indication from the state yet as to when we may be able to open, but certainly we are looking forward to bringing our seniors back into our daycare center when it is safe for them to do so. And I think the vaccines probably are our only hope of that anytime soon. So get your vaccines and good luck, everybody. Anybody, did I miss anybody? Anything else? Perfect. Have a great day. Enjoy the snow. Hopefully you can watch it from inside. I know Doug jumped off because he had to shovel to get out to an appointment. So be careful, stay safe, get your vaccine, and we'll see you next month. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.